it's a pleasure to meet you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Tell me first off, I understand that you kind of came into this, that they found you and said, would you like to do this? Is that how it all started?
That is true. They just offered me the part, which is something very nice to have happen to you. They had seen my work in Ruby Sparks, and they liked what they saw. So yeah, that's how I came to this movie. And then it was like a complete no-brainer for me, just to get to work with Daniel. And I had loved Goon, which I had just seen at the time, and I thought Alain's script was so funny and good. I don't know, just was really easy choice to make.
And once you started getting into it, what was the first thing that struck you about Chantry? What was the first thing that you really thought, wow, I really dig this part of her character?
I liked how moral she was. Her morality, I think, is a big part of her self-conception, which it's not really for me. I'm not saying I'm an immoral person, but it's not central to how I think of myself. I think of myself as being empathic and imaginative, and there are a lot of other words that would spring to mind, but moral isn't really one of them. And I liked that was such a huge part of how she thought of herself, and that was thrown so much into question for her by the situation that she finds herself in. I just thought that was so interesting.
When you started playing that off Daniel Radcliffe, what kind of developed as you guys started playing these characters together?
Well, he was really making me laugh a lot. I think he's really funny, which is something that people don't really know about him from his previous work. So I found myself charmed by him. One of the things I had talked to Alain, our writer, about before, and to Mike Dow's, our director, I had talked to them about how I didn't want her to be like an easy laugh. That part of their humor between them in the script, I felt like was a kind of like one-upping to try to make each other laugh, like you be the one who breaks. And he just always won, So my best intentions to not be, an easy pushover were thwarted by Daniel.
Well, it's funny because sometimes in these kind of films, romantic comedies, you get you get a straight man or a straight person, and the one send out the jokes.
Yeah.
I like that your relationship on screen is very much that you both are. In
that. I also think that the movie balances both of their perspectives really well, that a lot of romantic comedies choose either the woman or the man's perspective, and that this felt like it floated between the two.
Right. And not to ruin anything, which I don't think it does, but your boyfriend at the start of the film really isn't a bad guy, which is rare in these films.
I know, I like that as well.
So as you started playing the character, did anything change? Like by the end of the film, did you think that you kind of saw her differently at all, or?
No, I think the discovery always. There's always discovery, right? But I think in this case it was more like moment to moment discovery rather than big picture. I think I found. Well, I guess one of my discoveries was my relationship with Megan Park. I think, we both have sisters that we're very close with, and we got along immediately really well. But I think that relationship became more important in the movie than it was even on the page because of what we brought to it and what happened between us.
Right.
I don't know. I really loved Chantry. I loved getting to play her. One of the things that I talked to our costume designer about before we even started was about wanting her to dress in a way that was not to attract attention.
Right.
That I thought about, Diane Keaton in Manhattan or Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally, and the kind of like gender neutral clothes that they wore.
Right.
So that it becomes about two people rather than a boy and a girl.
Right.
And I felt like I wanted to engage with that. But then as we were playing it, the other thing was like I really wanted her clothes to be really simple because she's artsy. She's an animator, and I feel like in so many movies, like the artsy girl is like wearing like scarves, and like I would go into the costume person did a great job, but I found, as I would go into the costume trailer every morning, she would have like a whole outfit laid out, and I'd be like, no belts, no rings, no bracelets, take the feather off of the hat, you know, like
Right.
I just wanted to like trim down. I don't know. I felt like kind of like streamlining as
Right.
we went.
Well, almost reading into it, I also kind of thought that she brought out some of that art in her what she was creating, rather
Yeah,
than
totally.
in her wardrobe.
But I think,
and everything else.
you know, I have my god sister is a painter, and I never see her wear anything other than like, you know, a t-shirt and jeans or
Right.
like a black dress. Like, you know, I think most people who are engaged artistically, creatively, visually, don't need to put it on their person.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily. It's almost a caricature at this point that we
Totally.
expect in films.
Yeah.
So once you were filming, I mean, I love that Toronto is basically the other character here. I mean, it's every shot almost. I feel like you could say, oh, it's that part of Toronto or that part of Toronto. Did you get kind of a versing in what Toronto's all about while you were filming?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I'm sure I have no idea what Toronto's really about because I'm still an outsider, but I really loved being here, and I loved getting to know the city a little bit, both through what, you know, where we were filming, and also Elaine Mastai gave me a book of like walking tours of Toronto.
Oh, that's cool.
And I love to walk, so I would, you know, take a taxi someplace and walk back, or walk there and back. You know, like on my days off, I was doing a lot of on the ground exploration, which was really fun, and finding bookstores and you know, vintage shops, and you know, like all of the sort of like Little Italy and Chinatown, although like little ethnic communities, like I find that stuff really interesting. Parks, like that's my favorite part of a city. You know, not going to the tourist spots, but going and seeing where people actually live.
I agree.
Peeking in people's windows.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, I mean, to me, I'm wondering, when you were playing this, does Toronto play a part in the story? Because it is the backdrop, and I mean, certainly you could drop this story in any city, but do you think you found anything that is specifically Torontonian?
I don't know. I think you would know that answer more than me. I definitely wasn't thinking about anything specifically Torontonian because because I don't know enough about Toronto.
Right.
And also because you want it to feel really organic. I have spent a lot of time in Chicago, which felt to me like the closest to the city in just terms of its geography,
Right.
and also in terms of the you know, like you have a university that's really great here, and you have like people who are of different income levels living near each other, and the isolation of ethnic groups and communities. Like there was a lot that felt really similar to me, where I thought, you know, the weather, like I thought I can apply some of my Chicago knowledge to the way that this city might feel, or living here might feel.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Is there
you very
anything
much.
coming up next for you that we can watch for?
I'm going to be in this HBO miniseries, Olive Kittredge, which comes out later this fall.
Excellent. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.